She looked out the cafe window as rain whispered against the glass, the world outside blurred in shades of gray and gold. Have you ever wondered if the heart really sees age, or just the light it recognizes in another soul? Maya had spent years believing love was something that belonged to younger hearts, the kind that hadn't been broken too many times to still believe. At 42, her world had shrunk to quiet mornings and empty evenings, to the same cup of coffee and the same reflection in the mirror that reminded her how time never stops for anyone. But that afternoon something changed. The cafe door chimed and he walked in. Arjun, 32. A writer with tired eyes that had seen more pain than his age could explain, and a smile so genuine it felt like the first ray of sunlight after a long storm. Their eyes met for only a second, but in that second, her heart did something it hadn't done in years. It remembered how to beat for someone else. He noticed the book in her hand and said softly, "That's my favorite one, the one about second chances." That one line broke the silence between two lonely souls who didn't know they were about to rewrite the rules of love. Coffee turned into conversation, and conversation turned into laughter. Every day felt a little brighter, and every evening ended with the thought of the next. Still, beneath her smile, Maya fought the voice that whispered, "He's younger. He'll never understand you." For weeks she ignored it, until one evening, under the soft hum of the cafe lights, she finally let the words escape. "You know I'm older than you?" she said, her voice trembling. Arjun looked up from his cup, eyes steady, and replied, "My heart doesn't count years. It only recognizes truth when it feels it." That simple sentence shattered the walls she had built around herself. For the first time in years, she felt seen, not for the wrinkles near her eyes or the streaks of silver in her hair, but for the strength she carried and the kindness that refused to die inside her. But love, as it always does, had to fight the world. Whispers began to follow them. Friends questioned, neighbors judged, and every approving smile turned into a silent stare. Have you ever loved someone so deeply yet felt the world pulling you apart for it? Maya tried to hold on, but the weight of judgment became heavier each day. One night she sat in her room and convinced herself that maybe love wasn't meant to come this late. Maybe she was fooling herself. Maybe he deserved someone easier, someone the world would approve of. So she ended it. No drama, no tears in front of him, just quiet words that broke both their hearts. Arjun didn't beg, didn't argue. He just looked at her for a long time, as if memorizing her face, and said, "You can walk away from me, Maya, but not from what you've woken inside me." Then he left. Days passed. The world went back to its dull rhythm, but her heart didn't. Every place she went, she saw traces of him. The empty chair at the cafe, the book they once read together, the silence that echoed his laughter. She thought it was over until one morning a letter arrived. No words inside, only an address, their old library. She hesitated, but something inside her pushed her to go. When she entered, the lights were dim, and hundreds of candles flickered like stars around the room. And there he was, standing near a table with a small note resting beside him. It read, "The world measures love in years. I measure it in moments that feel eternal, like us." Her eyes filled before she could even speak. Arjun stepped closer, his voice soft but unshaken. "You're not too late for love, Maya. You're exactly on time, for me." The walls around her heart collapsed. In that candlelit room, surrounded by books that held 1,000 untold stories, they found their own, imperfect, brave, and timeless. She realized that the world was wrong. Love doesn't ask for permission, it doesn't check calendars, and it doesn't care about wrinkles or numbers. It arrives when it's meant to remind us that hearts don't grow old, they grow deeper. So if you've ever believed that your time is past, remember Maya and Arjun, because sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin when everyone else believes they're already over. The days after Maya ended things with Arjun felt endless, like walking through a house after all the lights had gone out. Every corner carried the echo of his laughter. Every silence reminded her of the space he used to fill. Have you ever tried to forget someone who felt like sunlight? Someone whose presence made everything else seem dull? Maya tried. She threw herself into work, met friends, smiled when she was supposed to, but every night when the world went quiet, her heart betrayed her. It still beat to his rhythm. Weeks passed, and just when she thought life was slowly going back to normal, A letter arrived at her door. No words inside, just an address. The same old library where they had first met. For a long time she just stared at it. Part of her wanted to ignore it, to stay safe inside the loneliness she now understood. But something inside whispered, what if? That single thought was enough. She went. The library was nearly empty, bathed in soft golden candlelight that danced across the old wooden shelves. And there he was, Arjun, standing in the middle of the room like he had been waiting forever. On the table beside him lay a single note. It read, "When the world measures love in years, I measure it in moments that never end." Maya couldn't hold back her tears. She had never been more sure or more afraid in her life. Arjun walked closer, his eyes steady, his voice low. "You taught me that real love isn't about starting young. It's about starting true. You think you're late, Maya, but you're exactly on time for me." He reached for her hand, and for the first time in years, she didn't pull away. That night, in the silence of that old library, surrounded by candles and memories, something changed. Love didn't feel like a reckless fire anymore. It felt like coming home after years of wandering. Outside, rain began to fall again, just like the day they met, but this time she wasn't alone behind the glass. The world could keep counting years, judging, whispering. None of it mattered anymore. Because love had found them both at the right time, in the wrong world. And maybe that's what makes some stories timeless. Not how they start, but how they survive everything that tries to end them. So if you've ever been told it's too late for you, remember Maya and Arjun. Remember that love doesn't wait for youth, it waits for courage.